Blake Lively has been in some hot water recently when it comes to how she treats people in Hollywood. Now this has all come to light due to her film It Ends With Us. There were reports of drama on set. Now Blake stars as the main character Lily Bloom and is also a producer of the film. She co-stars with Justin Baldoni, who is also the director of the film. Now it's said that there was a feud between the two co-stars that fractured the production, which resulted in the cast and crew picking sides. Not only this, but Blake has also been blasted as tone deaf and shallow after she hosted an interview with her It Ends With Us co-stars, and they failed to discuss the serious message behind the movie. There is no mention of DV during their chat, which is what the movie is about. Then, a lot of people have been coming out and accusing Blake of being a mean girl. A journalist released an interview she did with Blake in 2016 that made her so uncomfortable she wanted to quit her job. Norwegian interviewer Kirsty Flop posted a video called "The Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job" to her popular YouTube channel. Now in the clip, Blake is promoting the movie Cafe Society and is joined by her co-star Parker Posey. This interview happened months after Blake announced her pregnancy, so the journalist congratulated her by starting off the interview with congratulating her on her little bump. Now Blake didn't like this though and mocked her by repeating "congrats on your little bump." Now Kirsty was clearly not pregnant and has now explained that she is infertile, so that comment from Blake hurt her even more. Now that wasn't all though. As the interview went on, the two co-stars eventually started ignoring Kirsty and just had a conversation amongst themselves. They completely ignored the interviewer. Now once time is up, both Blake and Parker appear to roll their eyes and pull a face as she leaves. Now other clips have been resurfacing of her being rude to her Gossip Girl co-stars, and it just doesn't look good for Blake. Could this finally be the last nail in the coffin when it comes to her career? Now in her new memoir, Rebel Rising, Rebel Wilson has shown us some insight into her life. Rebel revealed that her Grimsby co-star Sacha Baron Cohen is the previously unnamed Hollywood a-hole that is allegedly attempting to stop her writing about him in her upcoming memoir. He's hired a crisis PR manager and lawyers. He's trying to stop press coming out about my book, but the book will come out and you will all know the truth. I will not be bullied or silenced by high-priced lawyers or PR crisis managers, she said. The a-hole I'm talking about in one chapter of my book is Sacha Baron Cohen. Now she went into more detail saying there were some incidents on set, and she also claimed that she was asked to do reshoots, which made her feel uncomfortable on set. "I filmed the scene after demanding rewrites. I still had to kiss him repeatedly," noted Wilson. She then told producers that she would not be doing any promotion for the film, and she added, "The movie bombed, which to me was karma enough." Zachary Quinto, who's best known for playing Spock in the Star Trek reboot film series, has been banned by a Toronto restaurant after they accused him of yelling at its staff during a brunch service. According to an Instagram post shared by Manita, a cafe and bar on Ossington Avenue, Zachary was a terrible customer who made our host cry and the rest of our brunch diners uncomfortable. They added that he yelled at our staff like an entitled child after he didn't reply to text to inform him that his table was ready, and refused to believe that empty tables in the dining room weren't available for him, despite being politely informed they were spoken for, the post continued. "Mr. Quinto, take your bad vibes somewhere else. We have many lovely celebrities join us at Manita, but you are not one of them." A representative for the restaurant would not elaborate on the incident, but confirmed to the Star that he has been banned from the restaurant until we receive an acceptable apology. Brad Pitt has had a lot of negative press around him recently, as his own children have been speaking out against him and how horrible he's been. Brad's divorce with Angelina Jolie was messy, but now his kids have been speaking up. Their daughter Shiloh filed paperwork to legally remove Pitt from her name on the day she turned 18. Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie-Pitt submitted a petition to Los Angeles County Superior Court on May 27th to change her name to Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie, which was then approved. Now Shiloh isn't the only child to drop her father's last name, as in the playbill for the new musical The Outsiders, which their daughter Vivian helped Angelina produce, the teenager is listed as Vivian Jolie instead of Vivian Jolie-Pitt, people confirmed. Now at this time, it's not clear if Vivian has also legally changed her name, but I think it's safe to assume that she probably will. Not to mention, during last November, while joining the Mu Pi chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority at her university, Spelman College, the former couple's eldest daughter, Zahara, introduced herself as Zahara Marley Jolie, a video showed. Now besides changing their last names, this isn't the first time one of the kids has spoken out against their father. Angelina and Brad's son Pax has expressed his disdain towards his father, as in November last year, Pax's old social media post about his father resurfaced, and it didn't paint a pretty picture of the famous family's dynamic. A then 16-year-old Pax posted from his private account on Father's Day in 2020 about Brad. The message was written over a photo of Brad accepting an Oscar. "Happy Father's Day to this world-class a-hole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person," he began. "You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence," Pax said, referring to Zahara, Shiloh, and the twins Vivian and Knox. "You have made the lives of those closest to me a constant hell. You may tell yourself in the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday, so happy Father's Day, you effing awful human being." Yikes. Now, Kris Jenner is best known for being a momager to all of her kids, and being in charge all the time can cause stress, but Kris took it out on a poor worker. In an episode of The Kardashians, Kris was rude to one of her drivers. Now, for context, she wanted to have a private conversation with her daughter Chloe, so she asked the driver to step out of the car, which he did. However, he left his trunk open, which caused Kris to scream, "Close the trunk," multiple times. Now, she didn't even add a please. Chloe then got upset with her mom for yelling, saying, "You're yelling at the effing guy," but Kris yells again, "Close the trunk." This time, Chloe steps in, telling the person off camera, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind closing the trunk for a moment? Thank you so much." Now, Chloe, frustrated with her mom, says to her, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it." Now, everyone made fun of Amber Heard about her issues with Johnny Depp, but actress Lola Golandini had a very similar incident while on set with him. They were on the set of the movie Blow in 2001 when the incident happened. On the Powerful Truth Angels podcast, Lola said the director, Ted Demme, instructed her to burst out laughing in a scene where Johnny gives a monologue. But she didn't know that Ted didn't tell Johnny about this. Now, Johnny Depp, when they say cut, walks over to me, comes up to me, sticks his finger in my face and goes, "Who the F do you think you are? Who the F do you think you are? Shut the F up," Lola said. "I'm out here trying to say my lines and you're effing pulling focus, you idiot." She said on the podcast that this was her first day on set and the first time that she met Johnny. "This was my first studio movie, I'd just done indies until then, and I have the star who I have idolized, who I'm excited to work with, reamed me in my face. The only thing going through my head was, don't cry." Then there was an incident he had while filming City of Lies where he got into a fight with the location manager of the shoot, Greg "Rocky" Brooks. Now, Johnny punched him twice in the ribs before yelling at him, "I will give you $100,000 to punch me in the face right now." He allegedly continued to scream and berate him in front of a set full of people until Johnny's own bodyguards physically removed him from the scene. And finally, we have Emma Roberts being exposed by her American Horror Story co-star Angelica Ross. Now, last year, Angelica provided screenshots of emails and detailed accounts of conversations with Ryan Murphy as he abruptly stopped communicating with her 3 years ago, during which no one in his company, Ryan Murphy Productions, would offer her any information about her status within the American Horror Story franchise. Now, Angelica then claimed that Emma could be a bullying presence on set, once going so far as to misgender her in front of a director. Angelica, who is transgender, first spoke out about the alleged incident during an Instagram Live. "I'm standing in front of Emma, talking to her like this, and she goes in front of me, her back against the mirror. She goes, 'John, Angelica's being mean,' she claimed, seemingly referring to the American Horror Story director, John J. Gray. Angelica claimed that Gray then said, 'Okay ladies, you know that's enough, let's get back to work.' Then Emma looks at me and she goes, 'Don't you mean lady?' and turns around like this and covers her mouth. I'm staring at her, looking her dead ass in the camera, and I'm trying to process the F she just said." Angelica said that she feared retaliation if she reported the incident, and she admitted that she no longer spoke to Emma after the alleged on-set encounter. But afterwards, Angelica tweeted, "Thank you at Roberts Emma for calling and apologizing, recognizing your behavior was not that of an ally. I will leave the line open to follow up on your desire to do better and support social justice causes with your platform." Now, in 2013, Jesse Eisenberg did an interview with Romina Pugga promoting his new film, Now You See Me. The interview started out rough, but it seemed like Jesse and Romina were both being sarcastic and dry to each other on purpose. Now this included Jessie insulting her, saying he wouldn't want to find her in a crowd, and that she was the carrot top of interviewers. It seemed like the two were in on it, but afterwards Romania made a blog post saying, "So I was just humiliated by Jesse Eisenberg. When the 5-minute interview, more like self-esteem butchering, were finally over, I went behind a curtain to wait for the memory cards from the interview. I peeked around the curtain to ask Jesse about his neighborhood in New York. He lived a few blocks from where I used to live, and he immediately says, 'You're still here.'" Now Jesse was widely slammed on social media for the interview, in which he came across as arrogant and was seen mocking the journalist's questions. Talking to NME, Jesse said he had different memories of the interview, as he found it to be quite fun. "I remember she was laughing. Even after she left, I said to the people in the room, 'What a relief.' Like, that was the most funny, interesting interview I'd had all day. She said I had made her upset. It was like the exact opposite of what my experience was, and I didn't know the appropriate way to handle something that's completely mischaracterized," he added. Now people said there are people who found the interview quite funny, saying, "Listen, I would never want to upset someone, and if I did upset her, obviously I would have acknowledged that," he added. While walking the red carpet at the 2023 Oscars, Hugh Grant was quickly called out online after an interview with Ashley Graham on ABC's Academy Awards pre-show. When asked by the model what his favorite part of the awards ceremony was, he responded, "It's fascinated. The whole humanity is here. It's Vanity Fair." Now things only got more awkward as Hugh began unenthusiastically responding with short answers, such as saying he wasn't rooting for any nominees in particular, and stating that he couldn't remember the name of the tailor who worked on his suit. Now the interview concluded with Ashley asking him about appearing in one of the night's nominated films, Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery, in which he made a cameo as the partner of Daniel Craig's detective character. "Well, I'm barely in it," he stated. "I'm in it for about 3 seconds." Now on top of that, when asked if he had fun shooting the Knives Out sequel, he simply responded with, "Almost." Now Twitter went crazy calling out his behavior, as it was just a plain awkward exchange. Now reflecting on the situation a few months later, Ashley told the Sunday Times, "I could tell he didn't want to be there. That was obvious. Before we were chatting, he was very pleasant. Then we started rolling and he was like, 'I don't want to be here.' And I was like, 'Okay, work with me, I get it, but like, work with me.' I was trying my hardest to be my nice, upbeat self, and he gave me what he had," she said. In 2016, Vin Diesel derailed his interview with YouTuber Carol Maria by trying to flirt with her and insisting that she was too beautiful and sexy for him to continue, making her visibly uncomfortable. Now in the video's intro, Carol addressed the situation, saying, "He began to hit on me in the middle of the interview, saying that I was pretty, and he interrupted the interview 3 times to talk about it. I was laughing, completely uncomfortable. I was not sure what to do," she said. "I just laughed because it was a very delicate situation. I did not like it. At the time, I did not know how to react, but you will see that I was uncomfortable. It was not nice that he interrupted my work." Now in the video, Vin Diesel is seen saying, "Tell me your story, let's get out of here, let's go have lunch. My god, I love her." Now Carol attempted to get things back on track, only for Diesel to derail the interview once again over their shared love of the game Dungeons & Dragons. "Guys, really, look how beautiful she is," he said. "You guys think this is a joke? How am I supposed to sit here while I'm looking at such beauty? She's so beautiful. I'm in love with the interviewer." Yeah, that's definitely not the way to talk to an interviewer. I mean, she was just trying to do her job. Plus, he was married and had children at the time of this interview. It's just gross. Reporter Ali Fedotowsky was asked by her co-host Roxy Manning whether she had bad experiences interviewing celebrities on the red carpet. Ali then said, "Sorry Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm going to Taylor Swift you right now." She then proceeded to say that Jake showed up for the red carpet. "My first red carpet for E! News, he walks up, I'm shaking in my heels. I say to him, 'Hi Jake, who do you bring tonight? Like for a date, like who's your date tonight?' He goes, 'Bye bye,' and walked away from me." Ali then shared that she started crying, fearing that she was going to lose her job after failing to get answers from the actor. However, she then witnessed Jake give another interviewer the same treatment. "There was an interviewer next to me and her question to him was, 'So if you don't get an Oscar for this film, those tattoos should,' because he was all tatted up for his film, and he goes, 'Bye,' and walks away because he is a serious actor," Ali recalled. Now Ali worked for the entertainment news company from 2013 to 2015, and she called the position her least favorite job she ever had. had. She added, "It was just not for me, it really ate away at my self-confidence," and she also noted that she doesn't have patience for stars who are rude to interviewers. "I've walked so many red carpets because of The Bachelorette and done countless interviews, and I know how easy it is to be nice," she said. But hey, at least he wasn't just rude to her, but still, that's a rude thing to do, Jake. Now, Joaquin Phoenix's film Joker did amazing, as it was praised by pretty much everyone, but it appears that he got tired of talking about it. Now, Joaquin took home the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama for Joker, but do not ask him about it. Now, after his win, Phoenix claimed that he was tricked into entering the press room, and he was annoyed at journalists for asking him questions. When asked about his process for transforming into the Joker, Phoenix snapped, "Isn't this old news? I think I've talked about this for 6 months. I mean, right? I feel like I've answered these questions. You want to hear a different version of it? I can try to change it slightly, or what should I do? It was a long process, and there's so many things I just can't remember right now, but I feel like I already answered this question 6 months ago, but thanks for still asking." Then when asked about a potential Joker sequel, he got similarly annoyed, saying, "What do you mean about the possibility of a sequel? Why? I don't care who's saying that. That's awesome and I love whoever says it. I don't think that I've ever done too many predictable things. So if that came up, it's not because we're following some rule book, it's because we feel inspired again to explore the character more thoroughly. That would be the only reason for me to do it. So that's all I can say about that." Now, we all know that they did make a sequel, but him responding to these questions like that was just awkward. And in 2017, Selena Gomez was announced to receive the Billboard Music Award for Woman of the Year. Now, she received it after she told the world about her kidney transplant, and this was a huge award for her, and it should have been made all about her, but on the red carpet, she was asked about her ex, Justin Bieber. Now, Selena has always been linked to Justin from the moment she started dating him. This understandably has been very annoying, and Selena is tired of questions about Justin. Now, during her interview, she was asked how Justin had most influenced her to be the person she was today. Now, Selena wasn't having this though, as the day was about her, so she responded by saying, "I don't think anyone truly actually cares." Now, some people may think this response was rude, but others thought the question itself was rude. Now, she'd been asked the same question about Justin over and over again, and the night was about her, but good for Selena for only discussing what she wanted to. Some celebrities just need to treat their employees better. Why? Well, Lady Gaga's former assistant Jennifer O'Neill claimed that she was owed payment for 7,168 hours of overtime, and claimed that she was responsible for ensuring the promptness of a towel following a shower and serving as a personal alarm clock for the singer so she could keep up with her hectic schedule. She also alleged that Gaga expected her to be at her service from the earliest waking hours and wanted her duties to extend to stadiums, private jets, fine hotel suites, yachts, ferries, trains, and tour buses. Now, she also alleged that the schedule meant she was unable to take breaks or even at times sleep. In her testimony though, Gaga said that Jennifer is an effing hood rat who is suing me for money she didn't earn, she said. She thinks she's just like the queen of the universe, and you know what, she didn't want to be a slave to one, because in my work and what I do, I'm the queen of the universe every day. Gaga then claimed that her assistant hadn't appreciated the perks of her job, stating she slept in Egyptian cotton sheets every night in 5-star hotels, on private planes, eating caviar, partying with photographer Terry Richardson all night, wearing my clothes, asking YSL to send her free shoes without my permission. It is like such an amazing luxury that I get to travel around the world and have planes, and she doesn't even see what luxury is. Now, in Hollywood, Sharon Stone is known for the terrible ways that she treats her staff. Doctors ordered Angelica Castillo, one of Sharon's former employees, to undertake a brief period of bed rest, but Sharon denied her request and told her that she would have to come into work that day. Then when Angelica mentioned that she was still in pain 4 months later, the actress allegedly called her crazy and stupid. Now, another employee, Erlinda Ellman, who was Sharon's nanny, spoke out about being fired in February 2011 after Sharon reportedly discovered she had wrongly been paid overtime. Erlinda alleged that Sharon made a number of disparaging comments about Filipinos, including calling them stupid people. Sharon shamed Erlinda for frequently attending church and on one occasion forbade her from reading the Bible in her own room. Now Sharon also ordered her not to speak to her 3 kids because she did not want them to talk like her. Then Holly Ann Hartman was Taryn Manning's assistant as well as her makeup artist. Holly Ann alleged though that she was physically attacked by the star. She even claimed that she'd been choked by Taryn during one particular altercation. Taryn was then ordered to stay away from Holly Ann after the allegations came to light, while the former's attorney said in a statement, they had a late night argument that turned into a bit of a physical altercation. Now Holly Ann, who had been close friends with Taryn for a number of years before the altercation, made the decision to forgive the actor for the attack, and because of their close relationship, didn't want to see her prosecuted. As a result, Taryn was ordered to carry out just 1 day of community service following the incident, and was told by the judge that she had to stay out of trouble for 6 months to avoid a more severe punishment. But yeah, that doesn't seem too nice to me. Now, Anna Wintour has served as editor-in-chief of Vogue since 1988. She has become an important figure in much of the fashion world, praised for her eye-emerging fashion trends, but there's also another side to her. Her reportedly aloof and demanding personality has earned her the nickname Nuclear Wintour. Now, ever heard of the film The Devil Wears Prada? Yeah, that was based on an assistant's experience with Anna. Miranda Priestley is the main character in the story, and she is a monster to her assistants. Miranda is ruthless, demanding, and doesn't understand that her staff members have lives of their own. Now she doesn't get close to anybody and expects her assistants to be there for her day and night. Now interestingly enough, no one in the fashion industry has come out to dispute these claims about Anna, and when asked about the novel, Anna simply stated, "I always enjoy a great piece of fiction." Yikes. Mariah Carey is known to be a diva, but her former assistant, Yesler Oliver, revealed the full extent of Mariah's controlling behavior when she filed a lawsuit against the singer in 2014. And some of the details will astonish you, they are just crazy. Now she testified that Mariah had her work 16-hour days, 7 days a week. Not only that, but she wasn't paid any overtime for her efforts and even had to forego meal breaks. She put up with this for 7 years, but eventually quit in March 2007 and decided to get some compensation for her abysmal treatment. Her lawyer explained, "My client put her family's life on hold while tending to Mariah Carey's family, and Mariah repaid her by underpaying her." Now unfortunately it's unclear whether or not she actually received any money from the lawsuit, but the treatment was horrible. Katherine Heigl had a fallout with Grey's Anatomy creator Shonda Rhimes, and things got messy, and this is due to how she behaved behind the scenes. Now Katherine has also been labeled as difficult, as she always has wardrobe issues, doesn't get out of her trailer, and she questions the script every single day. So if she acts that way for the people she works for, you know she acts that way, and even worse, to the people who work for her. According to a source on the set of 27 Dresses, she reportedly refused to film any scenes until her pregnant assistant ran around and got her a Coke Zero. Her pregnant assistant. Now that is just messed up. Now she also refused to eat lunch next to anyone or have anyone speak to her once the camera stopped rolling. Due to her difficult behavior, she has earned a bad reputation with actors and directors alike, and that's not all surprising. Now Madonna is awful to her fans out in the open, so it's really no surprise that she's rude to her staff behind closed doors. An anonymous source revealed when one of Madonna's dancers broke her arm during practice, instead of being concerned for the dancer's well-being, Madonna had a meltdown. Another anonymous source said that Madonna does not pay very well, but she knows that the people she hires will work countless hours at less than premium wage just because she is Madonna. They also added that her ego is overinflated and she thinks that her staff are lucky to be in her presence. Now her former nanny took to Facebook to let everyone know that she was over dealing with the singer's ridiculous demands and that she was quitting. Another former worker has stated that as a person, Madonna is totally overbearing and forces her staff to be available 24/7. Now to prove how awful she is, in 2009, 5 staff members quit within 7 days. Yep, 5 different employees. 1 chauffeur, 2 nannies, and 2 personal assistants walked out on the star. Now Madonna always says that she isn't a diva, but after hearing how she treats her staff, I think it's safe to say that she is a diva, and I would just never want to work for her. Lance Armstrong was regarded as a sports icon for winning the Tour de France 7 consecutive times from 1999 to 2005. But for much of the second phase of his career, Lance faced constant allegations of doping, and he denied it. That was until a confession during an interview with Oprah Winfrey in January 2013, when he finally admitted to all of his cheating in sports. But shortly after becoming Lance's personal assistant, Mike Anderson allegedly stumbled upon a box in his bathroom labeled with the name of a banned steroid, and the box soon disappeared. Now, as time went on, Mike started to feel more uncomfortable about things with Lance, as he had always denied he didn't dope. That's when, as Mike describes in a story, Lance fired him. He was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement, in his words, that would have made me liable for a large sum of money if I ever mentioned ever having worked for Armstrong. Now he refused, and soon after he faced lawsuits and public scrutiny. Now this was before the truth came out about Lance's doping, and he was essentially a scapegoat. He was painted by Lance's lawyers as a disgruntled schemer and essentially had to move to New Zealand to pursue his dreams of opening his own bike shop, and they did all of this to just cover up a lie, and it's a real shame. And finally, Harrison Chung was Christian Bale's personal assistant for over a decade, and he wrote the biography Christian Bale: The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman. Now he released lots of shocking information about the star. He said if Christian was away filming on location, I would take care of his 5 pets, along with stray possums in the backyard, as a special request. I'd do anything from sniffing Christian's armpits for BO, right before he hit the red carpet, to making emergency sock runs if Christian was all out of clean ones. Sometimes duties were as exciting as traveling to film festivals, and as dull as watching Christian surf in case something needed to be done on shore. Now he also said that Christian is often awful when fans approach him, as he'd reportedly lecture little girls about being rude and intrusive until tears streamed down their faces and their parents took them away from our table. Now Harrison even told the Daily Mail, "My therapist would describe my condition as post-traumatic stress disorder, and it really seems like it after having to deal with all that stuff."
First up, we have Johnny Depp. Recently, one of Johnny Depp's past co-stars, Lola from the film Blow, came forward speaking about an incident where Johnny mistreated her on set, where he was angry and swearing, and he said some horrible things to her. Then there was a time when he was filming City of Lies when he got into a massive fight with the location manager of the shoot. He allegedly screamed at him and berated him in front of a full set of people, until Johnny's own bodyguards physically removed him from the scene. Yeah, this is not a good look for him. Johnny should have been the one who left Hollywood, not Amber Heard. Moving on to Lea Michele. Many people have spoken out against Lea Michele, but today we're going to talk about the time that Naya Rivera did not hold back when it came to dishing on her issues with her Glee co-star. This all happened in her tell-all 2016 book Sorry Not Sorry: Dreams, Mistakes, and Growing Up. Naya claimed that their friendship started to break down because her character started getting bigger plot lines and more screen time. Naya said Lea didn't like sharing a spotlight, which isn't that surprising. She claimed things got so bad between the two of them that they were barely speaking by the end of her time on the show. One of the writers of Glee once said that Lea and I were like 2 sides of the same battery. She also wrote, "We are both strong-willed, competitive, and not just with each other but with everyone, and that is not a good mix." Then in 2020, former Glee co-star Samantha Ware accused Lea of traumatic microaggressions that made her experience on the show a living hell. Angelica Ross was featured on AHS, but she had a horrible experience with her fellow actor Emma on set. Last year, Angelica provided screenshots of emails and detailed accounts of conversations with Ryan Murphy as he abruptly stopped communicating, during which no one in his company, Ryan Murphy Productions, would offer her any information about her status within the AHS franchise. Angelica then claimed that Emma could be a bullying presence on set, once going so far as to misgender her in front of a director. Angelica, who is trans, first spoke out about the alleged incident during an Instagram live. She said that she feared retaliation if she actually reported the incident, and she admitted that she no longer spoke to Emma after the alleged on-set encounter. Moving on to Tim Allen. actress Casey Wilson opened up about her disappointing experience working with Tim in the Santa Clauses. She said, "It was truly the worst experience I've ever had with a co-star ever." Remembering one moment, she said Tim once finished a scene, then went to a producer to talk about her acting. He goes over to the producer, who was standing 4 feet from me, and goes, and I hear him, he says, "You have to tell her to stop stepping on my lines." The producer then turns to her with horror on his face, and he has to walk 1 foot to her, and he goes, "Tim would ask you to stop stepping on his lines." She said everyone was walking on eggshells around him on set. When he was done, he was so effing rude. He never made eye contact and never said anything. It was really uncomfortable. Next up, we have Chevy Chase. Chevy has garnered a reputation for being extremely difficult to work with, as there are now countless accounts about him being disrespectful to his co-workers. He starred in the show Community, and he ruffled a lot of feathers on set, which resulted in his character eventually being killed off. He made a deal, aka got fired, with NBC to get him to leave the show following his use of a racial slur during an on-set rant about his character arc, which eventually resulted in him straight up walking off set. Chevy also never had a good relationship with the showrunner Dan Harmon. After he refused to film an important scene in season 3, Dan reportedly called him out at the wrap party. Chevy then left an angry voicemail on the showrunner's phone. And because of that, his character was seen no more, and that was that. Then there was his time on SNL. He was on Saturday Night Live for 2 years, and after leaving, he came on to host the show 8 times. But his 8th time hosting the show would be his last, after it was learned that Chevy hit cast member Sherry in the back of the head. Creator and producer Lorne Michaels then ended up banning Chevy from coming back on the show, but eventually he did return for some smaller roles. After hosting SNL in 1991, Steven was banned from the show by producer Lorne because he was difficult to work with. He generally acted like a prima donna in the week leading up to air, alienating himself from the show's cast and just being an all-round jerk. Those transgressions might have been forgiven if the actor had delivered anything other than the biggest train wreck in SNL's storied history. While they never got too specific, the crew admitted they did not like working with the martial artist and even found him annoying. The show's cast and crew were on the edge and almost ran an entire show without a host. But they stuck to it, and they would ban Steven right after he was done. In fact, the episode was so terrible that NBC had done all it legally can do to ensure that no one ever lays eyes on it again. No clips can be found on the network's website, for example, and the entire episode was omitted when the season was released to Netflix. Yikes. Moving on to Charlie Sheen. It's well known that Charlie has addiction problems, which led to many public meltdowns. But the actor really sabotaged his own career after leaving the hit sitcom under the worst circumstances possible. If you didn't know, he was fired from 2.5 Men in 2011 after making derogatory comments about the show's creator, Chuck Lorre. And from then on, things went from bad to worse. At that point, Charlie was the highest paid actor on television, making $1.8 million per episode. But he claimed that he was being underpaid, and he publicly demanded a 50% pay rise. Now, this is the most entitled thing I have ever heard. He was then rightfully fired, and Ashton Kutcher was then hired to be the replacement of Charlie on the show. Charlie then went on to multiple news shows to be interviewed. These interviews were filled with weird rants, including him stating that he had a tiger blood and that he was #winning. Next up, we have Thomas Gibson. Thomas had a great television run, but it was all brought down after he was fired from the hit show Criminal Minds. In early August of 2016, Thomas was suspended from Criminal Minds due to an on-set physical altercation with one of the show's writers/producers. It is rumored that he kicked them due to a line of dialogue that he thought did not make sense, which isn't the appropriate reaction, of course. He was suspended, and then later he was fired from the show. Now, this wasn't his first incident on the show though, as he allegedly shoved an assistant director and then got into a verbal altercation. After that, he went to mandatory anger management counseling, but it seems like the counseling didn't help because then he continued those patterns, which ultimately got him fired. Due to this, he hasn't had an acting gig in quite a while, which is a shame because he is definitely talented, but no one wants to deal with him behind the camera because of his temper. Moving on to Shannen Doherty. Shannen's breakout role was in the 90s drama Beverly Hills 90210, but while she was there, she earned a reputation as a difficult actress. Her co-star Jason Priestley described her diva-like behavior in his book. He said that she even complained when a publicist had a town car pick her up instead of a limo. Producer Aaron Spelling characterized her in a slightly more sympathetic light, telling People magazine that she is a very honest person who wears her emotions on her sleeve. And if you ask her a direct question, she'll give you a direct answer. But it seems like her co-stars did not appreciate her honesty. As it was revealed in Lifetime's The Unauthorized Beverly Hills 90210 story, Shannon's co-workers voted her off the show. And then the character moved to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London and never returned. Moving on to Edward Norton. It was said that Edward doesn't work well with others and was instead replaced by Mark Ruffalo. After his departure, Marvel Studios' president released a statement hinting at a lack of collaborative spirit on Edward's part, saying, "We have made the decision not to bring Ed Norton back to portray the title role of Bruce Banner in the Avengers. Our decision is definitely not one based on monetary factors, but instead it's rooted in the need for an actor who embodies creativity and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members. The Avengers demands players who thrive working as a part of an ensemble, as evidenced by Robert, Chris H, Chris E, Sam, Scarlett, and all of our talented cast. We're looking to announce a named actor who fulfills these requirements and is passionate about the iconic role in the upcoming weeks. With something as big as the MCU, which is literally an ensemble franchise, I think they made the right call. But how can you be an actor and not work well with others? That just does not make any sense."
Now starting off, we have James Corden. In 2022, James Corden was exposed for being rude and demanding at a restaurant, and he was temporarily banned from there. In an Instagram post, Keith McNally, the owner of celebrity hotspot Balthazar, explained how James had berated his employees on multiple occasions, called the TV personality a tiny cretin of a human, and detailed 2 incidents of Corden's behavior as a customer. Now, the first account claims that the talk show host was extremely nasty in his demands of Balthazar's manager, reportedly commanding the employee to take care of their drinks so Corden would not write any nasty reviews in Yelp or anything like that. Another alleged outburst occurred when Corden was dissatisfied with his wife's omelet and, according to the Instagram post, began yelling like crazy to the server, "You can't do your job, you can't do your job, maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." Now, after this was revealed, the post went viral, and James was forced to address the comments. James said, "The truth is, I have made a rude comment, and it was wrong. It was an unnecessary comment. It was ungracious to the server." Now, since then, other people have spoken out about his unacceptable behavior, and to be honest, it doesn't really surprise me, as I've always had just like a weird feeling about him. Next is Ariana Grande. In 2015, Ariana Grande had just gotten her wisdom teeth removed and was high on some laughing gas when she went to a donut shop. She was there with one of her backup dancers who she ended up dating, and while there she licked a donut she didn't buy and said, "What the F is that? I hate Americans, I hate America." Someone then leaked the video surveillance, and the footage prompted state police and health officials to investigate further, which resulted in the demotion of the shop's health grade from an A to a B. Now afterwards, Ariana tweeted, "I am extremely proud to be an American. What I said in a private moment was taken out of context, and I'm sorry for not using more discretion with my choice of words." Now, instead of addressing the incident, she only added that she felt very upset about the food habits of Americans and was frustrated by child obesity rates. She then put out a YouTube video apologizing, but people were furious. In the video, she said, "Seeing a video of yourself behaving poorly that you have no idea was taken is such a rude awakening that you don't know what to do. I was so disgusted with myself. Not here to make any excuses or justify my behavior because I can't. I'm just here to apologize." Now, the bakery owner ended up banning her for life and tried to press charges against her, although she was never actually charged for anything relating to the incident. Now, everyone in America was angry with her for saying that she hated America, but honestly, I thought the video was kind of funny. Now let's talk about Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan was said to be banned from Los Angeles' Chateau Marmont after she stayed there while filming Liz and Dick during the summer of 2012. TMZ obtained a letter from the hotel's management requesting Lohan to pay the outstanding $46,350.04 bill that she accumulated over the course of her 47-day residency. Though the letter did not explicitly ban Lindsay, the word was that she was effectively banned from the premises, hotel, restaurant, bar, all of it. Now, she was paid $300,000 for her gig in Liz and Dick while staying at the hotel, but she claimed she was innocent, stating that she was under the impression that the bill would be paid by the producers on the TV movie. Now, among the purchases, according to the statement, included $3,000 plus each on room service, hotel restaurant bills, and minibar charges, in addition to more than $700 on cigarettes, $600 plus on laundry, nearly $400 on pay-per-view movies, and more than $100 on magazines and iPhone chargers from the hotel gift shop, plus the room rate and the taxes and the parking charges and other fees. Now we have Madonna. Alamo Drafthouse Cinema banned Madonna from its theaters after she violated their no texting policy during a screening of 12 Years a Slave at the 2013 New York Film Festival. According to one viewer's eyewitness testimony, which film critic Charles Taylor shared in a Facebook post, the Grammy winner spent much of the movie typing on her BlackBerry. When her cell phone usage prompted a fellow audience member to ask her to stop, Madonna allegedly replied, "It's for business," and slaver. Drafthouse CEO Tim League tweeted that until she apologized to movie fans, Madonna is banned from watching movies. While another tweet claimed it was really just a joke, The Hollywood Reporter stated that a few days later, League sent a letter requesting that Drafthouse theater managers prohibit Madonna from seeing films until she apologizes for her actions and acknowledges that texting during a movie is rude and disrespectful to the filmmaker and audience. Then there's Ruby Rose. In 2016, Ruby Rose got kicked out of Rebellion Bar and Urban Kitchen, a New Orleans restaurant, after the owner claimed she cursed out the bartender and threw food at him during a tantrum. Now, Ruby then explained why she did this. She said she, her assistant, and her manager waited 60 minutes for fries and 90 minutes for food that never came. When she told the bartender, he offered them drinks, but she politely declined because she's sober. Now, the bartender then made offensive comments about her sobriety. She said, "He then made some really rude and vulgar comments to the table. When someone makes repeated derogatory jokes about the sobriety I worked so hard to achieve, it's hard not to react emotionally. So I threw a singular fry at him." She continued saying, "Then he came back as we were getting ready to leave and continued making awful comments. So I continued with the fries," she added. "Every day I learn a new lesson about handling culture and social ignorance. I'm deeply regretful to the French fry, and I am regretful that I reacted at all. Maybe next time I won't throw fries. Then again, maybe next time the bartender won't tell someone who is sober to go call your effing sponsor." Now we have Jamie Foxx. In 2017, Jamie Foxx was kicked out of a restaurant in West Hollywood after he was attacked by another customer. TMZ reported that Foxx and his friends were in the patio area of Catch when a man approached them to tell them that they were being too loud. Now, things reportedly escalated quickly after that. A witness claimed that the man warned the group not to mess with him because he's from New York, and a friend of Jamie allegedly countered by saying, "F you, I'm from Oakland." Witnesses say that the man responded by lunging at Jamie, and cell phone footage shared on TMZ shows a man in a hat placing another man in a chokehold while someone is heard saying "calm down" repeatedly. Although some witnesses thought that the man in the hat was Foxx, another TMZ video, which shows the men initially entering the restaurant, proves that it was actually one of Foxx's friends. Later, Jamie, his friends, and the man who started the fight were reportedly asked to leave the restaurant. Now, 2 days later, Jamie shared a video on his Instagram account about the incident. He said, "Everybody's good, we don't want to get hurt, and we don't want nobody hurt." Zachary Quinto is an American actor best known for playing Spock in the Star Trek reboot film series, and he has been banned by a Toronto restaurant after it accused him of yelling at its staff during brunch service. According to an Instagram post shared this week by Manita, a cafe and bar on Ossington Avenue, Zachary was a terrible customer who made our host cry and the rest of our brunch diners uncomfortable. They added that he yelled at our staff like an entitled child after he didn't reply to text text to inform him that his table was ready, and refused to believe the empty tables in the dining room weren't available for him, despite being politely informed that they were spoken for, the post continued. Mr. Quintino, take your bad vibe somewhere else. We have many lovely celebrities join us at Manita, but you are not one of them. A representative for Manita would not elaborate on the incident, but confirmed to Star that he had been banned from the restaurant until we receive an acceptable apology. Now Zachary was there celebrating his birthday, and things clearly got out of hand. Good on you guys for standing up for your staff and patrons, wrote at Toronto Eaters, a local food guide account. Good for you. Being a celebrity shouldn't strip you of basic manners and how to treat other human beings, wrote another user. Now we have Nicolas Cage. In September of 2021, a drunk, barefoot, unshaven man walked into Laurie's Prime Rib in Las Vegas wearing a black t-shirt and leopard print pants. Eyewitnesses told The Sun that they had initially assumed that the man was homeless. He ordered a drink and drank shot after shot of tequila and expensive 1980 Macallan whiskey before stumbling around drunk, shouting, trying to get into fights with customers, and arguing with the staff. Now witnesses of the rowdy customer were shocked to realize that the out-of-control barefoot drinker was none other than actor Nicolas Cage. The staff eventually asked him to leave, and a regular ended up taking him home since he was in such bad shape. A witness said he was so drunk he could barely get his flip-flops on before being escorted out. Now The Sun speculates that the incident may have had some connection to the rough year he had experienced so far, entering into his 5th marriage at the time and having his mother die. Next up is John Travolta. John Travolta was banned from a luxurious New York spa after worker complaints. Apparently, male staffers reported to management that John had made lewd comments and advances towards them during private massages. Now, Travolta would always request a man for his massage, but after a while, no one would take him because of his inappropriate behavior, said a former worker. It got to a point where they couldn't find any men to take him, and they had to ban him. Now, the spa ultimately banned Travolta from the premises for 3 years. John and his wife at the time adamantly denied these accusations, asserting that he was never banned from the spa, despite never going back. And finally, we have Stuart Rahr. Billionaire entrepreneur Stuart Rahr was banned from Nobu, a popular New York restaurant, after he berated a manager and attempted to pay off diners for their table. It said that Stuart became visibly aggravated when he couldn't get a table at the pricey and busy restaurant. He called me the C word and said he would end my life, the manager Sharon Hofstetter said. He spent a lot of money and it's kinda like he thinks he owns this place, a waiter said. Now, after all of this, he was informed that he was banned from the establishment, and he proceeded to write an angry all-caps email to the manager, and it was extremely rude, so no shocker that he was banned.